Hello everyone, Malphite here, and today I have some news about these guys. They are joining the LCS or the Americas North for the next season 2025, but they still will be subject to relegation. In this video, I'm going to build a budget roster for their organization. Make sure you subscribe and let's get into it. So we know these guys competed in the NACL, North America Challengers League, and so when they want to build their roster, they have to work with the roster of the best teams from the NACL, namely Dragonsteel, Fearx Forge, FlyQuest, Next, and Supernova. And they also have to work with the teams that are no longer part of the LCS, with still some good players like NRG and what was it? Immortals, right? Yeah. So first of all, let's start with top lane. Dokla. Dokla, we all know Dokla. He was on a NRG roster, the roster that beat G2 and made it to quarterfinals in the previous Worlds, not this one. So if this guy is available, that would be amazing. I'm gonna go through a lot of players, so just, I'm gonna very quickly go through them. Next up is Castle. We know Castle from Immortals. He showed a pretty good promise. He would count as import though, so I don't know how expensive or cheap he is, but a solid player that already showed a good promise in the LCS. Next up is SRTTY. I think this is the hottest rookie on the whole market. His solo queue stats are overwhelming. He was basically solo carrying his team. He was in the FlyQuest Next, and this guy, if this guy does not make it into the Americas League next year, then I will riot, because this guy definitely deserves it. We'll just have to see if he ends up on Disguised or Dignitas or maybe somewhere else. We'll see. Tenacity, already a very talented rookie. He already played for the Skies, so he's currently playing for the Skies. Before, he was playing for 100 Thieves. He had some boot camping in Korea, if I remember correctly, as well. And so he is a very talented top laner, and you already have him in your team. So in the worst case scenario, if you don't get an upgrade, you can just keep him, and he's still very good. Zamudo is another option. He is from the Dragonsteel, and that they won the NACL, and he was doing very well. So that's an option as well. And then finally we have Philip from the Starforge, Fearx Starforge team. So this guy, again, a pretty solid option in the top lane. Next up, we have Yuji from Dragonsteel. This is the jungle territory now. This guy, clearly the best jungle in the whole NACL. Second best jungler, probably Exeu. Again, Fearx Starforge. This guy was already in the LCS playing for Dignitas, and then unfortunately he was also supposed to play for EG, I think, and then the cutting of the teams happened and he got put back into NACL, but still a very strong player. Next we have Shaden. He has been playing for some academy teams for quite some time, and he has shown a great promise. I would pick Yuji or Exeu over him, but still I have him here as a possibility, because in this video I'm just showing the possibilities. Next up we have Tomio. He already played for these guys. He played for Shopify. For Shopify he did not look very good, but he was part of these guys in that year when they won the NACL, which was last year, 2023. And so maybe if they had good vibes or something, they could try to get him again. Again, just an option on the table. Next up is Boogie. So Boogie also was part of the Shopify Rebellion. He will not be playing for them anymore. He's getting replaced by contract. He does have residency in Korea, so he would count as an import, but I think personally a very strong jungler. So if you don't get Yuji or Exeu, I think Boogie is a very solid option. And then finally, Spica still didn't lock a team, and who knows, maybe he's like a fan of this guy's toes, or maybe he wants to play in a team with these players and so on. So, Spica, doesn't have a team so far, so it could be a very, very strong addition to a roster. Let's go and move on to the mid lane. So Insanity from Shopify Rebellion. So we know the news that Niski is actually taking a break. So Niski will not be joining Shopify Rebellion, and Insanity was actually one of the best performing members on Shopify. And so maybe he will end up joining Shopify. But if he doesn't, it would be a very, very strong pickup for Disguised. But if they then don't get Insanity, they can also get Palafox. He was also very impressive. Not so much in the last year, but he really stepped it up in that NRG team 2 years ago. Next one is Toasty. This guy is very, very young, a rookie talent. Also, his name is Toasty, and he would be joining a Disguised Toasty team of Disguised Toast. He was very, very good in Supernova. I think the best performing member of the Supernova team. And now he's a free agent. He's up for grabs on the market. And again, very, very young talent. The question is, these guys will be subjected to relegation. So will they still want to have a very young rookie that's kind of unproven, let's say, when they will then have to play for relegation, right? I don't know, but could be very cool. So, if they don't get Insanity, Palafox, Toasty is an option. Then we have Young. He has been with them the longest. He's been playing with them since 2023 and then has been continuing to play with them even this season. I think it's the only player who is continuing with this roster. And so maybe they want to keep him as kind of showing a gratitude or believe in him as a player. But you never know, right? So Young could be kept as well. And then we have Spyrax. Again, a mid laner for Dragonsteel. The whole Dragonsteel roster was really, really good. So I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to pick up Spyrax again in the mid lane position. And then finally we have Mask from Immortals. He has been performing not so good, but he was performing very well on the Unicorns of Love, the Sexy Edition team. And then previously he has been a Korean import. So yeah, he would count as an import, but he was like very good. Previously not so good in the Immortals, but also the roster wasn't very, very good. Now we're starting with bot lane. We have FBI. This is kind of the obvious option from NRG. I don't know how expensive he is. He might be maybe too expensive for how good he actually is. He kind of, I would say, fell off, especially last year. But other than that, a safe option in the bot lane. I think maybe though giving a chance to like a rookie would be better. And so you could bring back Meech. Meech was with Disguised and then was playing for, I think, 100 Thieves for a bit in the LCS. And he wasn't bad, but I think he has some mental problems and he just wants to take a mental break, which is very respected. So maybe he doesn't want to return yet. And so if that's the case, then you could just go and pick up Scary Jerry. He was very impressive, again, on the Dragonsteel, who won the team that won the NACL. If you do not get Scary Jerry, then again, you could just go down the line and the second team from NACL, Fearex, Starforge, pick up Instinct. These are very good young prospective players. So maybe you do some tryouts, maybe you get some skilled, experienced coaching staff and they will help you pick out from these players. Or maybe you get like 1-star player and then build a roster around them and ask them who would they want to play with and maybe do some combination with some tryouts and so on. They have to figure out some good way to do this. And then you can also keep Minui. It's the player who has been on your roster, so he's playing on Disguised in the NACL. I personally wouldn't keep him. I wasn't very impressed, but you never know. I do not see what is the relationship between these players. I do not see into the inner works and also the market and so on. So you never know. So this is also an option. I'm showing it as an option. And then finally, of course, Sajet is part of the FlyQuest. I think this is unlikely, but I still wanted to show him as an option. He was in the FlyQuest roster with like SRTTY. Also a talented AD carry. And then finally moving on to support. So Zico is finishing. I think I showed all the players from the Dragonsteel lineup. He was pretty impressive. Like very cool player. But I think maybe someone like Winsome would be a lot more likely. I think also a better support in Winsome. And then if you know Winsome, you can just keep Poom. Poom has been also pretty solid. He has been on some LCS teams, right? 100 Thieves, NRG, Dignitas, and so on. He's been already playing in the LCS, so you could just keep him. And if you do not get Poom, you could get Huhi. But Huhi is... I mean, he's pretty old, but I wouldn't say that necessarily matters. But he's also still under contract with NRG, I think, so I don't know if they would have to buy him out and whatnot. But if you want like a veteran who could help the team and set them in the right direction, then I think Huhi would be a very cool option. Or possibly also you could get someone like Ignar, who's probably returning from LEC. But I don't know, these players are big names, so maybe they also require to be paid more, and I think these guys will have the lowest budget out of all the teams. So maybe they should focus more rather on young stars, young rookies, and possibly try to not get kicked out and not get relegated. I think that's their biggest goal for the year, because then they can just play in the LCS again, or the Americas. So yeah, these are basically just a quick rundown of the prospective players. So I'm showing them to you, so maybe you can use this to pick out a roster, and then let me know in the comments what roster would you like to see the most, and we can talk about it and discuss, and maybe then I'll make a second video about it in the near future. But so far, thank you for watching. Subscribe, I would appreciate it a ton. Like the video and leave me a nice comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.